That was President Trump calling out former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over the Pelosi big fortunes.
Yeah, she has a lot. She's worth over $400 million, John.
That's almost, I mean, she's on the way to $500 million.
She's outperformed every single hedge fund in 2024. So she must be, the next CIO of maybe Bill Ackman's hedge fund. She could be, at Soros, wherever she wants to be. She's a great hedge fund manager. I don't know how that happens.
Actually, being in politics should cost you money, not make you money. So we got to flip the script, folks.
Something's off.
Good morning and welcome to the second hour, first edition, only on Newsmax 2. I'm John Burnett.
And I'm Krisha Lenzo. Today is Thursday, July 31st.
Absolutely. So President Trump's looming tariffs deadline, well, it takes place tomorrow.
August 1st is a very big day for this country because money is going to pour into the United States like we've never seen before.
That's right. Why? Because we're living in the golden age of America.
Joining us now is our political panel. Robert George is an independent journalist and former editorial board member of the New York Post, the Daily News, and Bloomberg. And Whitley Yates is a Republican strategist and a Project 21 ambassador. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
So good morning. Wow, look at you, Robert. That's a nice blazer you got on. You like nice attire. So
you gotta do something in this heat and sweaty days here.
That's right.
That is true. That is true. So I'm going to use that in this question. Your style, right? You ever actually realize, wait a second, I need to go to the department store or grocery store, and they're closing in 30 minutes, and you actually rush to the parking lot because once you're inside, even though it closed, if you're working on a deal, you just got to bring everything to the cash register. Guess what? Those who don't make it on time, they get locked out, and they can't buy anymore because you can't do a trade deal online. So what do you expect tomorrow? Do you expect this big rush to make it inside the door to finalize these trade deals?
I was wondering where you were going with that one, John. I think so. I think that there could be an everything must go sale or an everything must come in sale to some extent. I think we've talked about this before. I'm sort of one of those old school conservatives that is a little bit wary of all of these tariffs because ultimately tariffs end up being levies that the American consumer pays for foreign goods, but to his credit, President Trump frames this as money coming in and filling up the coffers of the American Treasury, which technically it does. So there is definitely, politically speaking, I think the president is onto something, and he's getting more and more of our foreign competitors coming to the table. But it is a healthy degree of skepticism is called for as well.
Well, back to Nancy Pelosi. Whitley, she sparred yesterday with CNN's Jake Tapper when put on the spot.
Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider.
Well, despite her claims there, Whitley, there is a new bill being put forward. It's called the Pelosi Act. I love the name. And it's to prevent elected leaders from owning securities and investing. And this seems like something that we should have done a long time ago. Of course, people in the House and the Senate, they have a lot of insider intel, which, it seems pretty glaring. Nancy Pelosi, she's working in Congress, but making hundreds of millions of dollars. She's worth over 400 million. Your thoughts on this?
You know, I think that it's great that they are going to really attack this issue, because I do follow the Pelosi trade watch in case I want to make any of the same trades as her so that I can become a multimillionaire. But it's a glaring issue when you sit and you know what is coming, the bills that are going to be passed, the way they're being marked up, the company that may be supported, and you're able to utilize that insider information to make yourself rich and profitable. It is a problem. Also, when you may or may not be married to someone and your pillow talk increases the profitability of their portfolio, that's also a problem as well. I'm glad that this act is going forward. She states that she does support the act, but that was a mouthful of a lot of nothing, and she seemed a little guilty in that clip.
Can I just jump in here on this?
Yeah,
This is not a new issue. In fact, there was a bipartisan bill that was put forward 2 years ago, and there were moderate Democrats. I think Congresswoman Spanberger from Virginia was the lead on this. There were other bipartisan supporters of this type of a reform. Everybody from AOC to Matt Gaetz were in support of this. And Nancy Pelosi did exactly what she's doing now, saying, "Oh yes, I support this. This is something this is a needed reform." And when she was still leading the Democrats at the time, and she let the bill die before Congress actually voted on it. So yeah, it's more than time for an accounting to be made on this bill and Nancy Pelosi's political decisions to boot.
You know, Whitley, the thing is, I come from Wall Street, and one of the things that helped me throughout my career is understanding that action does not equate to accomplishment. I guarantee whatever bill that came up 2 years ago, or the one that they have on the floor right now, I'm quite sure it has deficiencies. It needs to go way beyond congressional leaders. It needs to be household, and household needs to be clearly defined in anything that you have influence over. And then secondarily, I think it's very important to have confirmations of anything that you currently hold to make sure that you are not trading. I think there's a lot of controls. You need to bring Wall Street on there to give a look at that bill. The same rules that Wall Streeters have to actually comply with is the same thing that these congressional leaders have to deal with if we really want to bring transparency and accountability. But moving on to this, Senator Chuck Schumer seemed to be the only one who was upset about the positive GDP numbers. Take a listen.
And while the Trump administration will try to wave rosy headlines about the Q2 number, today's GDP number is in fact a mirage.
You know, Whitley, maybe Chuck Schumer should give Nancy Pelosi a call. Maybe he looks like he needs some tips on what to invest in. What say you?
I mean, I'm not surprised that he's attempting to downplay what the GDP numbers are, because he needs the numbers to be bad so that in the midterms, Democrats can be up. And the problem that they're having now is nothing's going to stick. With the economy doing well, the way that Trump tariff talks have been coming to fruition, there's not much that the Democrats are going to be able to run on. So he's attempting to create a mirage so that they have momentum during the midterms.
Yeah. We don't have too much time left, but Robert, I have to get your take on this. Being a reporter from New York, a Democrat candidate, former Mayor Zohran Mamdani returned from his lavish Uganda trip to defend his need for private security despite being anti-police.
Right.
My life is sadly not the one that it was. There are far more threats, and with that comes precautions that I wish I didn't have to take, though they are also precautions that I am immensely grateful for, especially in the example of the NYPD detail that I have here in New York City.
Yeah, Robert, we just saw a poll from the New York Post show that Mamdani has over 50% of the vote, which is very scary. And now, of course, he's changing his tune with respect to defunding the police. What do you make of this right now?
Well, it's interesting that Mr. Mamdani concluded his Uganda walkabout with a walk back on his defund the police rhetoric from a few years ago. He now says, well, it was a moment in time where we were all under the stresses of the George Floyd episode and so forth. I definitely support the police now, etc. New Yorkers have every right to be incredibly skeptical. We know the tough job that the NYPD has to do. We know that an off-duty NYPD officer was among those that were killed in the horrible mass shooting in Midtown just a couple of days ago. And so Mamdani has so far, I won't say fools, but he's convinced a large segment of the public that his previous positions can be ignored. Yeah. And I hope that's not going to be the case by the time the election rolls around in November.
And on that note, we know that Mamdani's talk is cheap, but socialism is expensive.
Right. Robert George, Whitley Yates, thank you so much. Great insights this morning.
Thank you.